Well, folks, welcome to another edition of John Long Silver Rails. We could call this edition Jeeps on Parade. At any rate, according to Doyle, that's Doyle, not Hoyle, David Doyle, as far as I'm concerned, this is the Bible. These were available about 30 years ago. If you find one, grab it. This locomotive here, 23, 28, in very good condition, which this one is, in my opinion, is worth $300. If it was like new, it would be worth $750, rarity 4. I found this years ago from a private seller who was just trying to get rid of stuff. And so I bought it. Now I'll show you what it looks like up close. It has, as far as I can tell, I don't believe there's a horn in there. Pickups are here. One truck is powered. I believe it has magnet traction. I'd have to look at Doyle again, but this one has handrails here, and then stamped rails here on the frame. Same thing on this side. The horn is here facing backwards on this side. Here it's facing frontwards on that side. Cooling fans, no features on top, cooling fans. So let's see what Doyle says. He says this attractive silver and red EMD GP7 is a 7. There's no blister on top, according to Lionel World. Available in 1955 and 1956. Rubber stamp lettering, sheet metal frame. It does say it has an operating horn in it. I guess I'll have to look inside sometime. Dual headlights, levered down 3-position E unit, magnet traction. So there it is, folks. We're going to run it now. And then we'll look at the next Jeep. Now, some people like to run them long nose forward. Some people like to run them short nose forward. I suppose it probably depends on the rules of your particular railroad. On my railroad, my rules are that we run it short nose forward because I like those guys that are driving this thing to be up here where they can see what they're doing. Maybe it'd be better if they were at the other end the way these crazy people keep pulling in front of trains. We'll see if it runs. I haven't run it in a while. Well, it goes in reverse. Of course, we want it to go forward. It has no column pulling these cars. I think it would pull a lot more than that. It's too bad it's just very good because, well, it's the way I found it. And this is Florida after all. And that's what happens in Florida. But now we're going to have a look at Lionel, Milwaukee Road 2338. Now what Doyle says, well, there's 3 different versions. I never pay attention, folks, to the versions because I never find a rare thing anyway as a rule. And sometimes the value doesn't matter. The first one, type 3, well, actually, let me show you something. This thing goes all the way down here. He's got a lot to say about all these crazy different versions. I've never been a rivet counter. I don't know what version I have, but this is what he says. Offered in 1955 and 1956, EMD GP7, he calls it a GP7, is one of the most sought after of Lionel's post-war diesels. All versions of this unit had a black painted frame, ornamental horns, and operating headlights. Operating horn, 3-position E unit, magnet traction, and magnetic couplers. Then he goes into the different types. Type 1, in very good. Mine might pass as excellent. We'll say mine's excellent just for the fun of it. $1,500. Type 2, $275. That's probably the one I have. Type 3, $275. Type 4, $275, and Type 5, $550. Well, you know, I don't think I'm ever going to worry about which one I have. But I doubt it's the valuable. Let's say it's the 275 one most likely. Like the previous Burlington, it has the handrails here and here. The horn up here in the same location. The cast rails here. It has the rails on either end with the brake wheels, or whatever they are. I guess they're simulated brake wheels. I'm not really sure. This is what this side looks like, and here the horn faces back. It's a GP7. There's no blister on top. I believe in Lionel world, if it had a blister, it was a 9. Same underneath as the other one. I do think this one's excellent though. It's pretty clean. The paint's pretty good. I don't see any sign of rust. Now we're going to test it out. I think we'll violate my railroad operating rules, however, and put this one long nose forward just for the fun of it. I guess we'll have to sanction the engineer for this, but so it goes. Now this coupler looks a little weak, but we'll see. There's the go. Next up will be the beautiful Northern Pacific 2349, available in both 1959 and 1960, according to David Doyle. This EMD GP9 road switcher was painted primarily a soft black with brilliant gold painted ends and side stripes. A narrow red stripe was painted on to separate the gold from the black. Heat stamped road name, says radio equipped, has an ornamental horn. Inside there's an operating horn. Now these operating horns are usually bicycle horns. 2 headlights, lever down E-unit, simulated fuel tank, magnet traction, 1 truck powered, operating couplers at both ends. Very good, $300. Excellent, $450. I have 2 of these, folks. I got lucky and I found them both locally in different locations from different people. These were old family trains that I found back in the day when you could do that. This is probably very good, to be honest, because there are some blemishes on the gold. I wish there wasn't, but the plastic tops are just beautiful. Let me show you the details. Now this is the blister that we talk about, and in the world of Lionel, that means it's GP9. I think GP7s had that too in the real world, but so it goes. Similar to the 7s, the horn, the handrails right here and here, the stamped side rails, rear facing horn here, handrails, virtually identical, just a different top, different paint scheme, very similar. Now these were from the golden years of the real Lionel company that ended about, we'll say 1970, 69, somewhere in there. Now let's see how this thing does. Remember, I have 2 of them. What I usually do is run these back to back with the E-units locked out, which gives me tremendous pulling power. But the other one is in a different place on my train layout, and I'm not going to try to find it right now. I have, on my layout over there, I have storage shelves and things, and these things can be just about anywhere. I always have to go hunting for them. Now the grease is very stiff. It'll eventually warm up and it'll go much faster, but it hasn't been run in a long time. And I have a bad power drop there on that one particular track, and I haven't been able to solve that problem yet. So it runs fine. It'll loosen up and run faster and faster the more I run it, but I'm not going to do that tonight. It is a beautiful locomotive from the golden years of Lionel. Now, whoops. If you want your trains to come off the track, get your grandpa to play with it. This is David Doyle. He's running these from 45 to 69, so I guess that's when the era of the post-war trains actually ended. And then MPC, part of the fund dimensions of General Mills, took over. They got the rights to the name, and I guess they bought some of the dies. It's not really the same old company though, but it is what it is. And we're just grateful that they continued the legend of Lionel. And loving Lionel trains and not having the post-war version, I bought the MPC version of this beautiful Minneapolis and St. Louis. This is like new. And here's the differences. Take a look. Stamped rails. Not the little wire rails that the others had. It has the horn facing forward, the horn facing backwards, the stamped rails on both sides. Beautiful paint scheme, as did the original. This one's like new, lighter in my hands, cheaper here, plastic gears, rubber traction tires. It's not the same thing. It's got these tab couplers that I don't particularly like. But if you can't afford the real thing, get the next best real thing. I'm very happy with these MPC locomotives. They hold up pretty well. And for the most part, you're able to repair them if something goes wrong. So I recommend them if you don't have the original, but you want something that looks like the original. No sense spending a fortune if you don't have to. Now, this book, they call it the Standard Catalog of Lionel Trains, 1970 to 2000. Edited by Justin Moan. You see, we don't have David Doyle's name on it. Let me look at the number on this thing. 8866. Let's see what he says about 8866. Boy, there's a lot of trains in here. This goes beyond the MPC era. It probably goes to the David Kuhn era too. I really don't know. Let others figure that out. Well, here's something. There's an 8866 and there's an 8867. In like new, one is worth 65, the other's worth 60. The 66, which is the one I have, is a service station special. The 67 was made in 1978. Well, actually they say that the 67 is the dummy that went with the service station special, but you had to wait a year to get it. I don't have the dummy, and I didn't realize that either. So mine is the EMD GP9 service station special. I guess back then in those days, guys that had they were official Lionel repair shops, got to sell train sets and items that you couldn't buy off the non-repair retailers. So let's see if this runs, and I'm sure it will. It did last time I tried it. Maybe I shouldn't have said that though. Yep. Runs good. Now, in conclusion, I want to show you this building by Marx that I picked up in an antique mall in Melbourne, Florida. I've always wanted one of these. They go with the Western play sets, sometimes Roy Rogers or one of the others. Not in perfect shape, years of atmospheric effects on the lithography, but no serious heavy rust. It does have little rust specks on the roof, which is pretty typical. I have a fancy, today you'd call it a strip mall, but it's a Western building that I could use this with, or I could use it with the Marx cowboy figures. I could use it with the Marx old-fashioned steamer. There's all kinds of things. That's the William Crookes, and it smokes. It's a beautiful little locomotive. Smaller than the Lionel General, so maybe more realistic. But collecting Marx is fun, and you'll see on my layout lots and lots of this Marx stuff. I have 3 beautiful farm sets. I have the Super Circus, I have a gas station, the big freight station, and the Cape Canaveral set, and the Alamo, but my Alamo is a reproduction. And you'll see some of them from time to time on my layouts, particularly when I feature the circus trains. If you want to see what the rare Super Circus looks like, go look at some of my circus train videos. Well, that's all for this. Thanks for watching. If you like, please subscribe. Appreciate you. Good night.